Look, I know how this is going to sound. I know that the second I tell you what happened, you're going to judge me, you're going to decide I'm terrible, you're going to leave some self-righteous comment about how I got what I deserved. But before you do that, before you make up your mind about who I am and what kind of person would do what I did, just listen to my side of the story. Please. Just hear me out, because I swear to God, men have absolutely no sense of humor anymore. Zero. None. They take everything so literally, so seriously, so personally, like they can't understand the concept of a joke or a moment of drunken stupidity that doesn't actually mean anything real. And look, I get it. I understand that what I did looks bad. On the surface, without context, it sounds horrible. But there's always more to the story than what you see from the outside. There are always reasons, circumstances, explanations that make things more complicated than they initially appear. I was joking when I called my ex. Joking. I know that sounds like a weak defense. I know that's what everyone says when they get caught doing something wrong. But in this case, it's actually true. I wasn't flirting with intent. I wasn't trying to get back together with him. I wasn't planning some affair or scheming to leave my husband. I was just drunk and nostalgic and feeling that particular kind of melancholy that hits you at 2 a.m. when you've had too much wine and you start thinking about the past, about roads not taken, about the people you used to be and the lives you could have lived. Everyone does this. Everyone. Everyone has those moments where they wonder what if or remember old relationships with rose-colored glasses. It's completely normal. It's human nature. It's what brains do when they're swimming in alcohol and exhaustion, and that specific vulnerability that only happens in the middle of the night when all your defenses are down. It's not like I actually wanted him back. My ex, Tyler, let's call him Tyler, even though that's not his real name, but whatever, was fine when we were together. But we broke up for good reasons. Multiple good reasons. Really good reasons that made it clear we were never going to work long term. He was unreliable and kind of immature, and had no real ambition beyond coasting through life doing the bare minimum. We were fundamentally incompatible. I knew that then, and I know that now. So when I made that phone call, it wasn't because I genuinely missed him as a person or wanted to rekindle our relationship or thought we'd somehow be better together now than we were 7 years ago. It was just a moment, a stupid, thoughtless, alcohol-fueled moment that meant absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things. Before we get into it, don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit hype to boost this episode. Drop a comment below with your city or country. I'm always curious where viewers are joining from. My husband, let's call him Alex, should have understood that. He should have recognized that I was drunk and being silly and saying things I didn't mean. That's what partners do. They give each other grace. They understand context. They don't blow everything out of proportion and act like one drunken comment is the end of the world. Everyone says dumb things at 2 a.m. Everyone makes phone calls they regret. Everyone has moments of weakness where their judgment is impaired, and they do things that seem reasonable in the moment but look bad in the light of day. I'm not special in that regard. I'm not uniquely terrible. I'm just a person who made a mistake, and I'm being punished for it in ways that feel completely disproportionate to what I actually did. He overreacted. Completely. Dramatically. Spectacularly. Like some kind of soap opera character who can't handle one moment of imperfection from their spouse. As usual, honestly. Alex has always been a bit dramatic, a bit too sensitive, a bit too quick to take offense at things that aren't actually offensive. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me tell you what actually happened, from the beginning, so you can see exactly how one stupid moment spiraled into the worst night of my life. It was a Friday night about 2 weeks ago. Alex and I had both had long weeks at work. I'd been dealing with this nightmare project that was taking up all my time and energy, and he'd been stressed about some presentation he had to give. We'd barely seen each other all week, passing like ships in the night, both exhausted and stretched thin. So Friday night, we decided to just stay in, order takeout, open a bottle of wine, watch some mindless TV, and decompress. It was supposed to be nice, relaxing, a chance to reconnect after a busy week. We ordered Thai food, my favorite, though Alex always complains that it's too spicy, and settled onto the couch with a bottle of Pinot Noir that I'd picked up from the wine store earlier that week. Alex poured us each a glass, and we started watching some crime documentary series that everyone had been recommending. The first glass went down easy, smooth. I was feeling that pleasant warmth spreading through my chest, that loosening of tension that comes with the first drink of the night. We were laughing at something on TV, making jokes, feeling comfortable and relaxed together. Then the second glass, and the third, and honestly, I lost count after that. The bottle was empty at some point, and I vaguely remember Alex suggesting we switch to water, but I said no, I was fine. I wanted to keep the good vibes going, so I opened another bottle. I was drunk. Not falling down drunk, not blackout drunk, but definitely past the point of good decision-making. That point where everything seems like a good idea, and you feel confident and bold, and like the normal rules don't apply to you. Alex was barely drinking. He'd had maybe 2 glasses total, and then switched to water. He was slouched on the couch next to me, half watching the TV, half dozing off. He does this, falls asleep during movies, during TV shows, during any activity that happens after 10 p.m. It's like he has a built-in timer that shuts him down once it gets late. I was scrolling through my phone, that absent-minded scrolling you do when you're drunk and bored and not really looking for anything specific. Social media, news articles, random photos in my camera roll. And then my phone did that thing where it surfaces old photos as memories. You know, those automated compilations of on this day 5 years ago or whatever. Except this one wasn't from 5 years ago. It was from 7 years ago. And it was a photo of me and Tyler. We were at some beach, both smiling, his arm around my waist, me looking tan and happy and young. Back when life was simpler. Back before adult responsibilities and marriage, and all the complicated mess that comes with trying to build a life with someone. I stared at that photo for longer than I should have. Started thinking about Tyler, about that relationship, about how uncomplicated things had been back then. Started feeling nostalgic for a time in my life that felt easier, even though I know logically it wasn't actually easier. I was just younger and had fewer responsibilities. And then I started thinking about Tyler specifically, about the ways he was different from Alex, about the things he did that Alex doesn't do, about how he was more spontaneous, more adventurous, more attentive in certain ways. And that's when I said it, out loud, to no one in particular, just said it into the room like I was thinking out loud. You know what? I miss how good he was. He actually knew what he was doing. I was looking at my phone when I said it, not even really directing the comment at Alex. It was just a thought that escaped my mouth before I could stop it. Alex stirred next to me. What? And instead of backtracking, instead of laughing it off or changing the subject or pretending I hadn't said anything, drunk me decided to double down. Tyler, I said, gesturing at my phone. I miss how good he was. Like, Alex, you're great and everything, but Tyler really knew how to... Stop, Alex said, his voice sharp now, cutting through my wine-soaked rambling. Stop talking. But I didn't stop, because I was drunk and feeling reckless, and some part of me wanted to get a reaction out of him. Wanted to shake him out of his half-asleep stupor and make him actually engage with me. So I did the stupidest thing I've ever done in my entire life. I called Tyler. I pulled up Tyler's number. I still had it saved in my phone, though I hadn't talked to him in years, and pressed call before I could second-guess myself. Alex sat up straight, suddenly fully awake. What are you doing? Calling Tyler, I said, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. Why would you... he started, but then Tyler answered. Hello? Tyler's voice came through, confused and cautious. Probably because I hadn't called him in 5 years and it was almost midnight on a Friday. Tyler, hey, I said, my voice too loud, too enthusiastic. How are you? I'm good. Is everything okay? He sounded genuinely concerned, like maybe I was calling to tell him someone had died. Yeah, everything's great. I was just thinking about you. About us. Remember when we used to… Alex grabbed for my phone. Hang up right now. I twisted away from him, laughing, treating this like it was all a game. No, I'm talking to Tyler. Tyler's voice. Is someone there with you? Yeah, my husband, I said, and I heard how that sounded even as the words left my mouth. My husband, who was sitting right next to me while I called my ex at midnight to reminisce about our relationship. But drunk me didn't care. Drunk me was on a roll. I was just telling him that I should have stayed with you, I said, the words tumbling out too fast, too reckless. You were better in every way, like, genuinely better. You knew what you were doing. You actually paid attention to… Are you serious right now? Alex's voice was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that's more scary than yelling. But I ignored him, kept talking into the phone, giggling at something Tyler said, completely oblivious to the fact that I was destroying my marriage with every word. Tyler was playing along. Of course he was. What ex-boyfriend wouldn't be flattered by his former girlfriend drunkenly calling to say she missed him? Making jokes, asking if I was drunk, telling me I sounded exactly the same as I did 7 years ago. And Alex just sat there, watching me, listening to every word, his face completely blank. I finally noticed him staring and waved my hand dismissively. Oh, relax. I'm just talking to an old friend. He stood up, slowly, deliberately. I thought he was going to yell. Thought he was going to grab my phone and throw it across the room. Thought he was going to storm out of the house or demand I hang up. But he didn't do any of those things. Instead, he walked calmly to the kitchen. I watched him go, confused, phone still pressed to my ear while Tyler rambled about something from our past that I wasn't really listening to anymore. Alex opened the cabinet, took out a second wine glass, set it on the counter, then he opened the drawer, took out a pen and a piece of paper, started writing something down. Tyler, I'll call you back, I said, suddenly nervous about whatever Alex was doing. Okay, call me tomorrow when you're sober, Tyler said, laughing. This has been entertaining, but also kind of weird. I hung up and stared at Alex's back as he continued writing on the paper. What are you doing? I asked. He didn't answer, just kept writing. I got up from the couch, stumbled a little, I was drunker than I thought, and walked to the kitchen. Alex, hello? What are you writing? He finished writing, set down the pen, and finally turned to look at me. His face was still blank. No anger, no hurt, no emotion at all. Just nothing. That scared me more than if he'd been yelling. You miss him? He asked calmly. It was just… I was joking. You said he was better than me, in every way. I didn't mean… You said you should have stayed with him. I felt panic starting to creep in. I was drunk. I didn't mean any of that. Come on, you know I didn't mean it. He picked up my phone from where I'd set it on the counter. What are you doing? I asked, my voice going high and nervous. He unlocked it. He knows my password. We've never hidden our phones from each other, and scrolled through my recent calls. Alex, don't… He pressed Tyler's number. What are you doing? I screamed, lunging for the phone. He held up one finger. Wait. The call connected. Tyler answered, sounding even more confused than before. Hello again? Alex's voice was perfectly calm, perfectly polite. Hi, Tyler. This is Alex, her husband. I tried to grab the phone. He stepped away, held it out of my reach. Oh, hey, Tyler said awkwardly. Look, man, she called me. I didn't… I know, Alex interrupted. She called you. She told you she misses you. She told you that you were better than me. She said she should have stayed with you. She's drunk. She didn't mean… She meant every word, Alex said. And since she clearly wants you instead of me, I think you should come get her. My blood turned to ice. No, no, Alex, stop. Come get her, Tyler repeated, sounding baffled. Yes, Alex said, still perfectly calm. She misses you so much. She wants you back so badly. So come get her. I'll give you our address. Alex, stop! I was screaming now, trying to grab the phone, but he walked away from me, into the living room. Dude, this is weird, Tyler said. I'm not coming to get anyone. She's your wife. Deal with your marriage problems on your own. It's not a problem, Alex said. She made her choice. She called you, not me. She said you were better, not me. So I'm respecting her choice. Our address is... And he gave Tyler our address. Our actual address. Said it clearly into the phone, making sure Tyler heard every word. I felt like I was going to throw up. He's not going to actually come. Tell me he's not going to actually come. Alex hung up and handed me back my phone. I guess we'll see. I spent the next 20 minutes in pure denial, convincing myself that Tyler wouldn't actually come, that he'd recognize this whole situation was completely insane, that he'd ignore Alex's invitation and go back to whatever he'd been doing before I'd ruined his Friday night with my drunk phone call and dragged him into my marital drama. Because who does that? Who actually drives across town at midnight because their ex-boyfriend's husband invites them to come pick her up? Normal, sane people don't do that. Normal people would hear that invitation and think, this is clearly some kind of marital dispute that I want no part of, and hang up and go back to bed. But Tyler never was particularly normal or particularly sane. That was part of his charm back when we dated. He was spontaneous and impulsive, and always up for whatever crazy thing came his way. Which was fun when you're 22 and have no responsibilities. Less fun when you're trying to build an actual adult life. Alex didn't say a word during those 20 minutes. He just sat on the couch, staring at the TV that was still playing that crime documentary we'd been watching before everything went to hell. Except now, neither of us was actually watching it. It was just noise filling the unbearable silence between us. I tried talking to him. Multiple times. Desperate attempts to fix this before it got worse, before Tyler actually showed up, and this nightmare became even more real. Alex, come on, please. I was drunk. I didn't mean any of that. You know I love you. You know I don't actually want Tyler back. Please say something, please. Nothing. No response. He didn't even look at me, just kept his eyes fixed on the TV like I wasn't there, like I was a ghost haunting our living room that he'd decided to ignore. Alex, you're being crazy. You know that, right? You can't actually think I want to be with Tyler. We broke up 7 years ago. 7 years. If I wanted to be with him, I would have stayed with him. I chose you. I married you. That has to mean something. Still nothing. Alex, I was yelling now, my voice getting shrill with panic. You can't just ignore me. This is insane. Tell me this is some kind of punishment, some kind of lesson you're trying to teach me, and then we can move past it. He finally moved, but only to pick up the remote and turn up the volume on the TV, drowning me out, literally choosing TV noise over my voice. That's when I started really panicking, because this wasn't normal Alex behavior. Alex yells when he's mad. Alex slams doors and storms out and gives passionate speeches about his feelings. This cold, silent, calculated thing he was doing. This was something else entirely, something scarier. And then, at exactly 2:17 a.m., according to the clock on the cable box that I'd been staring at obsessively, I saw headlights sweep across our front window. My heart literally stopped. I felt it, that moment where your chest goes tight and empty and you can't breathe. It can't be. Alex, tell me that's not him. But it was. I knew it was. Because what other car would be pulling into our driveway at 2:17 in the morning? A car pulled up. I heard the engine shut off, heard a car door open and close, heard footsteps on our driveway, walking toward our front door. Tyler was actually here. He'd actually come. This was actually happening. "Alex, please," I whispered, tears starting to stream down my face again. I'd cried them all out earlier, or so I thought, but apparently I had more. Apparently there's always more when you're truly terrified. "Please don't do this. I'm begging you. I'm so sorry. I'll never do anything like this again. Please don't open that door." He stood up, walked to the front door. His hand went to the doorknob. "Alex, no," I screamed, but it was too late. He opened the door. And there was Tyler, standing on our porch, looking uncomfortable and confused, and like he wasn't entirely sure whether this was some kind of elaborate prank or a genuine crisis. He was wearing sweatpants and a hoodie, like he'd literally rolled out of bed and driven over here without bothering to change. His hair was messy. He looked older than I remembered. Not old, but definitely not the 22-year-old I'd dated. There were lines around his eyes now, some grey in his hair at the temples. "You actually came," Alex said, and there was something in his voice I'd never heard before. Not anger, not hurt, but something colder, something final. "Yeah, well, you sounded pretty serious on the phone," Tyler said, scratching the back of his head awkwardly. "And honestly, I was curious. This is definitely the weirdest night I've had in a long time. Maybe ever." He looked past Alex into the living room, spotted me standing there frozen with tears on my face, and raised his eyebrows. "You okay?" I couldn't speak, couldn't move. My brain had completely short-circuited. This wasn't real. This couldn't be real. This was some kind of nightmare that I was going to wake up from any second. Except I didn't wake up. "Come in," Alex said, stepping aside. "Are you sure?" Tyler asked, hesitating. "Because this feels like maybe I'm walking into some kind of trap. Like maybe you're going to punch me in the face the second I step inside." "I'm not going to punch you," Alex said. "Come in." Tyler walked in slowly, carefully, looking around our living room like he was entering hostile territory. Taking in the wedding photos on the walls, the couch we'd picked out together, the life Alex and I had built that he was now intruding on. This was wrong. This was so wrong. Tyler didn't belong here. This was our space, our home, and having him here felt like a violation of something sacred. "So, what exactly is happening here?" Tyler asked, shoving his hands in his hoodie pockets. Alex gestured toward me like he was presenting evidence in a trial. "She called you. She said she missed you. She said you were better than me in every way. She said she should have stayed with you instead of marrying me. So I figured, why fight it? If she wants you that badly, if she thinks you're so much better, she should have you. I'm not going to stand in the way of what she really wants." Tyler looked at me. I looked at Tyler. Alex looked at both of us with that cold, blank expression that was somehow more terrifying than any anger could have been. The silence in that room was suffocating. I could hear my own heartbeat pounding in my ears, could hear the hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen, could hear everything except the words I needed to say to fix this. "Look," Tyler finally said, breaking the terrible silence. "I appreciate the, invitation, but I don't know what's going on in your marriage, and I'm not here to steal anyone's wife. She called me drunk and said some stuff, yeah, but that doesn't mean I want her back. That doesn't mean this is some kind of reunion tour." "She said you were better," Alex repeated, his voice still eerily calm. "Better than me, in every way, including ways that are pretty personal. So I'm giving her what she apparently wants. I'm giving her you. Consider it my Christmas gift to both of you." It was April, but I didn't point that out. "She said you were better," Alex repeated. His voice was still calm, but there was something dangerous underneath it now. "Better than me, in every way, including ways that are pretty personal. So I'm giving her what she wants. I'm giving her you." "Dude, I don't want," Tyler started. "She wants you," Alex insisted. "She told me so. She told you so. She made it very clear." I finally found my voice. "I didn't mean it. Alex, please, I was drunk and stupid and I didn't mean any of it." "You meant it," he said, finally looking at me. "Maybe you wish you hadn't said it out loud, but you meant it. Alcohol doesn't create feelings, it just reveals them. That's not true. Then why did you call him? Alex asked. Why did you tell him he was better than me? Why did you say you should have stayed with him? I didn't have an answer. Or I had answers, but none of them were good enough. None of them would fix this. Tyler cleared his throat. Okay, this is super awkward, so I'm just going to say it. I'm not interested in getting back together. We broke up for a reason. Actually, multiple reasons. We weren't good together. So whatever she said on the phone, she was just drunk and nostalgic. It didn't mean anything. It meant something to me, Alex said quietly. Alex walked past both of us, down the hallway toward our bedroom. I thought maybe he was going to cool off, to take a minute to himself before coming back to have an actual conversation about this. But then I heard him in the closet. Heard him pulling something out. He came back carrying my suitcase, the overnight bag I use for business trips, the bag I'd just used 2 weeks ago when I went to that conference in Denver. He set it down by the front door, right next to where Tyler was still standing, looking increasingly uncomfortable. Then he grabbed my coat from the rack and held it out to me. What are you doing? I whispered. You picked him at 2 a.m., Alex said. Now pick him now. I didn't pick him. I was drunk. You called him. You told him he was better. You told him you wished you'd stayed with him. That sounds like a pretty clear choice to me. I sank to my knees right there in the living room, full-on ugly crying now. I didn't mean it. Please, I don't want him. I want you. I love you. Alex knelt down to my level, looked me straight in the eyes and said, You were honest. For the first time in God knows how long, you were completely honest about what you really think, about what you really want. Alcohol doesn't create the truth, it reveals it. That's not true, I sobbed. Then why did you say it? He asked. Why did you call him? Why did you humiliate me in my own home? I couldn't answer, couldn't think, could barely breathe through the tears and the panic and the absolute horror of what was happening. Alex stood up, looked at Tyler and said, She's all yours. Then he walked back down the hallway toward our bedroom. I heard the door close, heard the lock click. Tyler looked at me with something like pity on his face. I'm sorry, but this is insane. I'm not taking you anywhere. You need to work out your marriage problems with your husband. Tyler, please. I started, but I didn't even know what I was asking for. He shook his head. We're done. We've been done for 7 years. Whatever you thought you missed, you were wrong. We weren't good together then, and we definitely wouldn't be good together now. He turned and walked out, got in his car, drove away, and I was left kneeling on my living room floor, crying, with my suitcase packed and my coat lying next to me. I don't know how long I sat there crying on the floor, long enough for my knees to go numb, long enough for the tears to dry on my face, leaving my skin feeling tight and sticky. Finally, I got up and walked to the bedroom door, tried the handle, locked. I knocked. Alex, please open the door. No answer. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Please let me in. Nothing. Alex, please, I love you. I don't want Tyler. I never wanted Tyler. I was just drunk and saying stupid things. Please. Still nothing. I knocked louder, pounded on the door. Alex, you can't just lock me out. This is my house too. You can't do this. I heard his voice muffled through the door. The couch is available, or you can go to a hotel, or you can call Tyler back and see if he changed his mind. I don't want Tyler. You said you did. I was drunk. Then you shouldn't have called him, Alex said. You shouldn't have told him he was better than me. You shouldn't have humiliated me in front of your ex-boyfriend in our own home. I slid down the door, sitting with my back against it, too exhausted to stand anymore. What do you want me to do? How do I fix this? I don't know if you can, he said. Those words hit me like a physical blow. What does that mean? It means I need time to think. It means I need space. It means I need to figure out if I can forgive you for this. It was one mistake, I cried. One drunken phone call. People make mistakes. This wasn't a mistake, he said. This was a choice. You chose to call him. You chose to tell him those things. You chose to say all of that while sitting next to me, like I wasn't even there. I didn't know what to say to that, because he was right. It had been a choice. A series of choices, actually, each one worse than the last. I'm sleeping in the guest room tonight, Alex said through the door. You can sleep on the couch, and tomorrow we'll talk, maybe, if I'm ready. Alex, I'm done talking for tonight, he said. I'm done with all of this. I heard him move away from the door, heard the guest room door open and close. I sat there for another hour, maybe more, before finally dragging myself to the couch. I didn't even get a blanket, just curled up in my clothes from the day and cried myself into a fitful, nightmare-filled sleep. I woke up with the worst hangover of my life. My head was pounding, my mouth tasted like death, and for a blissful moment, I thought maybe the whole thing had been a nightmare. Then I saw my suitcase by the door, and reality came crashing back. It had really happened. I'd really done that. I'd called Tyler. I'd said all those things. Alex had invited him over. Tyler had actually come. Oh, God. I sat up too fast and immediately regretted it as the room spun around me. I stumbled to the kitchen for water and aspirin, drinking straight from the tap because I couldn't be bothered to find a glass. The clock on the microwave said 10:47 a.m. Alex was usually up by 7, even on weekends. He was probably already awake, probably had been awake for hours. I walked quietly down the hallway, listened at the guest room door. No sound. I tried our bedroom door. Still locked. Alex? I called softly. Are you awake? No answer. I went back to the living room and found my phone. Texted him, please talk to me. I watched the message change from delivered to read. But no response came. I tried calling. It rang once and went to voicemail. He'd declined the call. Panic was setting in again, that same terror from last night, but worse, because now I was sober and could fully comprehend what I'd done and what I might have lost. I sent another text. I'm so sorry, please, I love you. It was the biggest mistake of my life. Read. No response. Another text. I'll do anything to fix this, anything. Just please talk to me. Read. No response. I spent the entire day like that, texting and calling and begging for a response. Sometimes I could hear him moving around in the guest room or the other bathroom, but he never came out, never acknowledged me, never responded to any of my messages. By evening, I was desperate enough to try the locked bedroom door again. Alex, you can't ignore me forever. We live together. We're married. You have to talk to me eventually. The guest room door opened. I jumped up, hopeful, ready to apologize and beg and do whatever it took. He walked past me like I wasn't there, went to the kitchen, made himself dinner, ate it standing at the counter while looking at his phone. Alex, please. He held up his hand. Stop. Then he finished eating, rinsed his plate and walked back to the guest room, closed and locked the door. I stood there in the hallway, tears streaming down my face again, wondering how my entire life had fallen apart in the span of one drunken phone call. It's been 2 weeks now. Alex is still sleeping in the guest room. He speaks to me when absolutely necessary, about bills, about the house, about logistics, but nothing personal, nothing real. It's like living with a polite stranger. I've apologized 100 times, 1,000 times. I've cried and begged and explained and pleaded, but nothing seems to make a difference. And part of me, a part I'm not proud of, but it's there, part of me is starting to feel like his reaction is excessive. Yes, I made a mistake. Yes, I shouldn't have called Tyler. Yes, I said things I shouldn't have said. But was it really worth this? Was it worth effectively ending our marriage? Was it worth treating me like I don't exist? I didn't deserve this. Not really. It was just drunk talk, just late-night stupidity brought on by too much wine and a moment of misplaced nostalgia. Everyone does stupid things when they're drunk. Everyone has moments they regret. He shouldn't have taken it so literally. He shouldn't have actually invited Tyler over. That was psychotic. honestly. Who does that? Who actually calls their spouse's ex and tells them to come pick them up? Normal people don't do that. Normal people yell or cry or give the silent treatment for a day and then move on. But Alex had to make it into this big dramatic thing. Had to teach me some kind of lesson. Had to humiliate me by bringing Tyler to our house and packing my suitcase like he was actually going to kick me out. It was one comment. Okay, several comments. Okay, an entire phone call. But still, one incident, one night of bad judgment. He's ruining our entire marriage over one stupid phone call that happened at 2 a.m. while I was drunk off my ass. Where's the forgiveness? Where's the understanding? Where's the recognition that people make mistakes and say things they don't mean? I don't want Tyler. I never wanted Tyler. I was just drunk and being stupid and saying things that sounded good in the moment but meant absolutely nothing. But apparently, that's unforgivable. Apparently, one phone call is enough to destroy years of marriage. Apparently, Alex would rather sleep in the guest room and give me the silent treatment than actually work through this like adults. So, yeah, I made a mistake. But his reaction? That's on him. He chose to blow this up. He chose to make it bigger than it needed to be. He chose to be dramatic and punishing instead of understanding and forgiving. But late at night, when I can't sleep, when the defenses come down and I'm forced to be honest with myself, I think about what I actually said on that phone call. He was better. He actually knew what he was doing. I should have stayed with you. You were better in every way. I said those things, out loud, to my ex-boyfriend, while my husband sat right next to me. I compared them, explicitly, and I made it clear that Tyler came out on top. How would I feel if Alex had done that to me? If he'd called his ex-girlfriend at midnight and told her she was better than me? That he wished he'd stayed with her instead of marrying me? That she was better in every way? I'd be devastated. I'd be humiliated. I'd be questioning whether he ever really loved me at all. And when he says alcohol reveals the truth instead of creating it, maybe he's right. Maybe somewhere deep down, I do compare him to Tyler. Maybe somewhere in my subconscious, I do think about what might have been if I'd made different choices. But that doesn't mean I actually want Tyler back. That doesn't mean I don't love Alex. People can have complicated feelings. People can wonder, what if, without actually wanting to change their current reality. Can't they? Or did I reveal something real that night? Something true that I've been hiding even from myself? I don't know. I honestly don't know anymore. All I know is that I made one phone call and it destroyed everything. We're still in the same house, but we're not really together. We're roommates at best, strangers at worst. Alex goes to work, comes home, makes dinner, watches TV, and goes to the guest room. I do the same, except I go to our bedroom, the bedroom that used to be ours, but now feels like just mine. We don't talk, we don't touch, we barely look at each other. I asked him yesterday if we were getting divorced. He said, I don't know yet. Not no. Not, we'll work through this. Just, I don't know yet. My marriage is in limbo because I made a drunk phone call. Because I had too much wine and got nostalgic and said things I didn't mean. Or things I did mean but wasn't supposed to say out loud. I still don't know which one it is. So here I am, 2 weeks later, still living with a man who won't speak to me. Still sleeping alone in a bed that used to hold both of us. Still trying to figure out how one stupid moment destroyed everything I'd built. I didn't deserve this. I really didn't. Yes, I made a mistake, but the punishment doesn't fit the crime. Alex is being too harsh, too unforgiving, too willing to throw away our entire marriage over one drunken phone call. It was one incident, one night of bad judgment. He's acting like I cheated on him, like I had an affair, like I did something genuinely terrible and unforgivable. But I didn't cheat. I made a phone call. I said some things I shouldn't have said. That's it. That's the extent of my crime. And yet here I am, being punished like I'm the worst person in the world. So, yeah, I called my ex in front of my husband. I said he was better. My husband invited him over to prove a point, and now my marriage is probably over. Was it my fault? Maybe. Probably. Yes, but I'm not ready to fully admit that yet. Because admitting it means accepting that I destroyed the best thing in my life over Tyler. Tyler, who I don't even want. Tyler, who didn't even want me back. I lost my husband because I called a man I don't love and said things I didn't mean. Or maybe I meant them. Maybe that's the part I can't face. Maybe that's why Alex won't forgive me, because he knows I was telling the truth.